That's right. Firemen normally aren't up this early in the morning. What wakes them up is when a cop comes by the fire station to get coffee. Yeah. Touche.
All righty.
All right, well, we just want to dive into this, and basically all we're looking at are any of the changes. I'm not looking at statewide spreads or anything of that nature. I want to make this as efficient and clean for everybody, and so we can drill down and get to the important things.
All righty, well, that takes us, well, thank you, first of all, for allowing me to come to present
If I need you to pull mic 3 over there close to you.
our recommendations for FY 2027.
Give me just 1 second. Jackson, is that good enough? Or?
A little closer.
All right. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm soft-spoken. All righty.
And we appreciate that.
Okay, so line item 226.7.
Right. That's increased funds to annualize personnel due to decreased turnover.
That's correct, for $2,544,806. And this, over the last couple of years, we've had to come to you all during the amended budget to ask for additional funding for our RYDC program budget. And so what this will do is just allow us to be at a place, the truth of the matter is, we don't have enough money anymore in the RY, the personal services, which is the reason why we continue to ask. We've had 3 things that we think that have contributed and have gotten us to this place. Not only the decrease.
Which place is that?
The place of not having enough funding to make it through the year in personal services.
Yes, ma'am.
One being not only the decreased turnover, but over the years, over the last 3 or 4 years, and this is a good problem to have, with the increases, we don't receive additional funding for the vacant positions. So that's something that we feel like has contributed to this. And then we also have to continue to hire. And so as a result of that, and then with the benchmarks that we do, especially with our security officers, so after a year they get a 10% increase, and all of those increases that we're self-funding, we believe that it's contributed to us being in this place of just not having enough.
Yes, ma'am. Now, when you say self-funding, how do you self-fund?
That means that we have been utilizing the monies that we would normally have for the vacancies. We've been utilizing that money to help us when we're having to do those increases for the staff. We haven't come to ask for additional funding in order to do that.
So what I hear, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what you're doing is you're reallocating money
Yes.
to do this. Are these pay increases factored into a step system, a formal step system?
Yes.
Okay. So how are those not funded if they're factored in? If all the other departments have and I'll use Department of Corrections as an example, which the commissioner always hates when I do that. But when they hire somebody in at an entry level as a CO1, it's already factored in that when they move up to a CO2, it's budgeted for that increase. Is that not the way it is in DJJ?
No, because what has happened is because we've had such a high vacancy rate over the years, the thought was that we had the money to actually fund those increases.
Because the vacant slots were funded.
Yes.
So when did the vacant slots stop being funded?
Do you know the exact year?
They haven't stopped being funded.
Okay, that was what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Because I don't recall in the many times I've sat on this committee that we've ever not funded vacant slots to a certain degree.
It's the gap in between. So we have the funding for the positions. If there's an increase, then there's a difference between what the base salary is and whatever we've
If there's an increase in what?
in pay.
And the state determines the increase in pay,
Yes.
correct?
That's correct.
And you're saying that when the pay goes up, when state, if we give a 3% pay raise, that we're not raising
Not
not
for
raising
the
the line
vacant
item by
positions.
3%?
Not for the vacant positions.
Okay.
You are
Only
for the
only
field.
for the field positions?
Yes.
How many vacant positions do you currently have?
I think it's like for the security officers, I think at the last look.
We're
it was
talking about
around-
RYDCs, right?
Yes. And I want to say it was 300 and, 371.
How many currently filled positions do you have? RYDC?
1139.
Okay, and the 1139 are fully funded.
Yes, sir.
The 371 you're saying none are funded.
They're not fully funded.
They're funded for the starting pay,
Yes.
correct?
That's correct.
They're not funded, you're saying there's a 10% gap when they're their year. And to receive that 10% pay raise, which I want to emphasize, 10% pay raise, all they have to do is survive for 12 months?
But there are also some trainings that we also require that they complete, and then they survive for the 12 months, and they get the 10%.
And I'm not trying to discount the position. I think everybody knows my background. We had a step system, but there were certain things we had to do, and 10% was a pretty big jump. There's some promotions that don't come with a 10% pay raise.
Yeah.
So, okay. Okay, go ahead.
And so those are the things that have, it's just a combination of those things that have put us in a situation where over the last 2 years, we have managed to fall short in our budget.
Chairman Albers on Mike 9.
Correct. Good morning.
Good morning.
See this as some good news, though, because for so long we have had challenge recruiting and retaining folks in DJJ. In fact, the turnover for a while was so extraordinary, you almost turned the whole department over when it came to certain sections. So can you give us any update on where we are as far as the turnover percentage and things of that nature that may help connect the dots here?
Yes, I definitely can. So about 3 or 4 years ago, we would, for our JCO series, which is what drives the turnover rate for DJJ, it was up to 97%. And today, what we reported earlier in the year is down to 68.24%. And then not only have we seen significant turnover rates with our security staff, because I think that's the focus, but we've seen similar things happen with our food service staff, with our teachers, as well as some of our counselor positions. So all of those, we have managed to see some reductions, and it all contributes to where we are in the RYDC budget and falling short.
And if I could just say that again, you said the JCOs just a few years ago was 97%.
Yes.
So basically, we turned the entire JCO department over every single year back then. And
Yes.
now that's obviously come down dramatically. That's kudos to you. Congratulations on the work you've done there.
Thank you.
You said the turnover, you're having turnover in teachers?
Yes.
Are these the full-fledged certified teachers?
Yes, these are the full-fledged certified teachers.
That I think the current pay is $103,000 a year?
For some of them, yes, sir.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah,
Wow.
That's for
Are there
But I
any
want to
openings?
make sure that we
Yeah.
understand.
How many openings do you have right now? I want to see a show of hands of who's looking for a
That
job.
is also, though, I think for the administrative staff,
Yes.
like we have principals, we have superintendents, but our teachers, the ones that's sitting in the classroom where we're seeing the high turnover rate, those individuals are making what school teachers across the state would make. And part of the problem there is because you're behind the wire.
Yeah.
And that is a hard job, and you do not have the breaks that other school districts are able to afford their educators.
You're talking about the summer breaks?
The summer breaks, the spring breaks, the Christmas breaks, we do.
You don't give
20
spring break to
We-
people in YDC?
So we will give the students will do spring
Right.
break, but the staff, they're state employees
Okay.
and not school system employees. So when they take those breaks, they have to utilize their leave.
Right. The 371 you have open right now
Mm-hmm.
are funded without the 10%.
Yes.
How many do you anticipate hiring this year? Based on years
Yes,
past?
that's what I'm
Yeah.
I want to.
And you got to factor in the 68.24% turnover, so you're going to have people leave as people come in.
Yes.
So is your goal, do you think, maintain 1139 is the best thing, or do you think you're going to get up to 1,200?
I don't think we'll make it up to 1,200.
Okay.
No, I don't think that.
Okay, and where are y'all primarily recruiting from?
So we're recruiting, when I say everywhere, we have television, we have part-time recruiters, we're doing commercials over the radio to try to do statewide coverage. So we don't have, if there are job fairs, we're participating in job fairs, so we don't have just one place that we're recruiting. We're going out to the colleges and universities as well to recruit.
What's a requirement to be a CO inside of an RYDC?
Basically, you just have to have a GED, high school diploma, and you have to be able to make it through BJCOT.
Okay, and how long is BJCOT? Do you know?
It is 6 weeks.
6 weeks, and that's done where? Is that at
Down
TIP?
at Dipstick.
Chipstick? Okay. And the age requirement?
They're 18.
18, because they do not carry weapons, right?
Right.
Yep, okay. Anything else you'd like to discuss this morning?
Yeah, do you want to hear about our capital projects or not?
If it was something that was, that you, yeah. Yeah, right, is it dealing with something new, or is it dealing with an existing problem?
So the problems were always
The
remain
sewage
the same.
and this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I know we addressed some of that in the amended budget, correct?
Yes, we did some of that in the amended budget, and then there's an increase in the recommendation from the House on 37.5.411.
Right, and are you comfortable with that increase?
Yes, that will help us get a little closer to trying to maintain these facilities.
Okay. Then, no, we don't need to hear about it. I think we're going to support the House on that, because on the maintenance stuff, we do agree that that's something that has to be done, because it only gets more expensive when we don't.
Yeah.
Our biggest concerns right now were the personnel issues.
Okay.
And just to make sure, and we're going to help you attempt to get to 1,200 the best way we can. And I appreciate you pointing out the discrepancy with the 10% after 12 months.
Okay.
And so I think we can help solve that problem.
Okay, thank
But to Chairman Albert's point, I do appreciate the fact that y'all have gotten the turnover rate down. What do you attribute that to?
The team, they have worked, when I say we're diligent, every month we have a vacancy and turnover rate meeting to actually look at where we are and the things that are working and that's not. And then you all gave us a challenge, and you said put together a strategic plan to tackle those issues, and we did that, and we've been working that plan ever since. So it's been a team effort, so thank you.
And again, Commissioner, it's just my personality, but I'm going to ask a question, and I don't want to upset anybody, but we're not lowering the standards, are we?
No. In fact, part of where we're struggling now is because the directive has been, we've got to stop just hiring warm bodies, because that's not helping us either. We're also about to roll out a more strenuous fit for duty, because that's not helping us either. And we're looking at whether or not we give our staff enough time in BJCOT, especially given some of the challenges that we're seeing with the young people.
And I agree, and I'd love to, and I'm going to reach out. I'd love to see the curriculum for the academy, because you said 6 weeks, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't know how you can get everything they need to get done in 6 weeks in there. And the hiring of warm bodies is liability.
Mm-hmm.
And with the population that your men and women are dealing with, it's warm bodies are the most dangerous thing in the world
Yes.
that we can set as the standard. So I do appreciate what you guys are doing, and please keep charging forward.
Thank
If
you.
I can ever help, please reach out. Thank you so
you.
much. Firefighter Standards and Training Council.
y'all doing?
Good morning, how are you?
Soaking wet from walking up the hill.
Well, you are used to water, aren't you?
That's fair.
That's right.
This could get ugly, huh, Senator?
No, we had a conversation during the amended budget.
Yes, sir.
And I think we're at the place now
Yes,
where
sir.
we're solid, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. And
good.
according to what I see on this sheet, though,
Okay.
I don't know whether to be. You go
Yeah,
ahead.
no. Let's go ahead and go to line 269.4.
Right.
Increase funds for safety and compliance specialists in the metro area. There's an allocation of $167,520.
Yes, sir.
If you'd speak to that.
Yes, sir. If I can find it, there it is. I think my papers are all stuck together. and
You have
everything,
that,
too,
you
so-
probably have the house numbers.
No, sir. I have the right sheet
Okay.
somewhere, and I just
We'll give you a second.
so.
It's the
Yes, sir.
metro,
What
it's the
that-
metro area compliance
Right,
officer.
and that, yes, sir. And what that's for is, and I think the numbers were slightly higher on that. I hate to say that because I can certainly use all the money I can get, but I think we did have a discussion last time I was here that didn't get changed in this. And so even though I can't find that sheet, there it is. I know what I'm talking about here is that the 167,520, it's pretty close actually to what the number should be. So
What
that-
should the number be?
It should be 107,520. I guess that's pretty close to it. And
175,000?
46,200. Yes, sir.
Say it
I
again.
think it's 107,000,
Oh.
107,520, $107,520 would be the.
Okay, what is the 107,000? Is that salary and fringe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there any equipment involved?
Yes, sir. There's a vehicle and a bank of computers with a computer charging station, and then the carry case and everything. And I really think that the carrying case that we need for people to carry their computers around from place to place as they're testing got left off of the number that I gave y'all. I have on here a vehicle, testing computers, a charging cart, and then the shipping on all of that as well is the number I have, which comes out to be $46,200.
So if we add those numbers together.
Right.
There's a good chance we're right there at
Pretty
167,
close, yes,
520,
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir. And then whatever little bits, and I don't want to take from, I want to get all I can get, but I don't want to take what's not mine. But I'm going to use that to buy the carry case
Right.
that they need to carry their computers around. And I just want to tell you what difference that makes, and certainly with Senator Albert's here in the room now, is that when y'all
Absolutely.
talk about hiring and recruiting and retention in the fire service, when I got here 4 years ago, we had a big problem with people recruiting and retaining firefighters all over the state, and it's not perfect yet. But to give you an idea of what kind of difference I think our agency's making in recruiting and retaining firefighters is in 2022, when every committee I went in front of chastised me or made fun of me for still doing Scantron machine testing with bubble sheets and everything. We are now online testing, and so in 2022, we tested 2,720 firefighters that year. That's all that we did, 2,720, which sounds like a lot, but now that we're on the ACADIS platform and we're testing online and they get their scores immediately, we're averaging 17,000 tests a year.
It's fantastic.
So we are hopefully helping with retaining firefighters throughout the state of Georgia. And we're seeing that in numbers. We don't have a clear number on that yet, but as we continue to grow in our numbers, we want to see what that's doing for firefighters throughout the state.
Well, Chief, how are we doing with volunteer firefighters? Are we keeping a good supply of volunteer firefighters
We
throughout
are,
rural
and I
Georgia?
think it's equal across the board. I think what we're seeing a lot of is we're seeing a lot of recruit classes throughout the state in volunteer departments and in career departments. And so, I mean, it's not unlikely to have them in career departments, but we're seeing a lot more recruit classes go through. I mean, like there's 2 at the fire academy right now. at the same time. One's ending up and one's just now starting. And so you're seeing a lot of recruits coming into the volunteer world out there in the field as well. So
Good.
we're excited about that.
And are you involved with the Department of Corrections, with the fire departments there?
Yes, sir, a little bit. Now, the commissioner and I talk frequently when there is a need. So yes, sir, I'm very aware, but we're also very much in favor of the program that they have through the Department of Corrections.
Yeah.
I sat on council for 7 years on the Firefighter Standard Training Council before I took over as the executive director, and that was really one of the best things that we did, in my opinion, was approve for a firefighter that came out of the inmate program to find a department that wanted them and that wanted to come in and stand up for them and get them on a department.
And I would hope that y'all discuss expanding that program to bring more, to give that opportunity to more of our folks transitioning out of prison into public service.
Very much in favor of that.
Yeah.
Very much in favor of that, and the Pathways program that we have with the Department of Education, in that they go into the career academies all over the state now, more and more. And they're growing the Pathways program where they're training the high school students. When they come out as graduating seniors, they are ready to go ahead and be certified in the fire service, and sometimes get job offers at the end of the graduation line. So it's really
excellent.
good.
All right, Chief, I appreciate you. And is there anything else we can do for you?
No, sir, we just want to keep growing, and I think I told you last time I was here that I have an incredible staff right now, and I'm fortunate in that what I have is, I have a small staff, obviously. I would love to continue to grow, and I hope this is one at a time.
Right.
But I don't have the problem of people leaving me, leaving our agency. In fact, I have quite the opposite. I'm always getting emails from people that are asking me if we have any openings so they can come work for us. And so we've created an environment with standards and training that I think people know we're there to help them and not hurt them, and that's what I'm very proud of.
Well, I really appreciate what you do, and thank you for the service that you do for the state of Georgia through the training and through the management of the program. You always have a big advocate here in Chairman Albers, and I'm always going to be supportive
Yes, sir.
of our friends in fire service.
Yes, sir.
So you have a great day, and thank you. And when you get a chance to get with Chairman Albers, he'll get you an umbrella.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you very much. Thank y'all so much.
Peace Officers Standards and Training Council.
Hey, good morning.
You doing well?
Doing well, sir. You?
I'm doing good. I appreciate it. What we're primarily looking at is line 270.5.
Yes, sir. That's to increase the funds for rent at our headquarters. And that's connected to the following line. I'd like to talk about that for a second. In June of last year, we had an officer who had been put on probation by the council, showed up at our office and ended up assaulting two of our female investigators. It could have been a deadly scene, frankly. He came into the office to talk and just went nuts, is about the best way I can describe it. Cold-cocked one of our investigators. The other investigator tried to stop him. The fight spilled outside of our office into the lobby area. He tried to disarm one of the investigators. Fortunately, it was a Monday morning at about 11:30. There were a lot of people in the office. Other people heard it. Other investigators came out and assisted him and subdued him. But when Austell Police did an investigation, they found out he had a rifle, 3 other handguns, and hundreds of rounds of ammunition in his vehicle. He had been put on probation, I think, at the previous council meeting, or maybe 2 council meetings before. Security at our office has always been a concern, and I understand that the reluctance to do physical physical enhancements because it's a rented building, it's not a state building.
Correct.
So what the city did is they went ahead and did some enhancements to the structure. They installed some steel doors, put in some bullet-resistant coating on the glass, closed off some areas, and they increased our rent about $1 a square foot. So it's still, I think it's now just over $6 a square foot, and they increased our rent slightly to cover that.
So the city didn't spend any money.
Well, arguably no.
Right.
They passed it on to our rent.
Absolutely. Is there still conversation about moving the headquarters? And I understand y'all have an academy coming in on the other end, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And so, has there been any discussion about moving into a state-owned property? Yeah.
Okay, I've spoken with people at GBA about that, and the problem is that the rent is so cheap out there. It's, $6 a square foot. Anything anywhere else is going to be $15 to $20 a square foot. And so, according to SBA, they say stay put is the word we've gotten.
Okay, good. Chairman Albers.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I think you, your predecessor, and the one before that, I've had that conversation with, and it's long since time you get out of that building. We have a lot of state-owned facilities with a lot of vacancies that have the security measures in place, and I think at this point, it's just time to stop. We just kicking this can down the road. I think it was a good commute for some people at certain times, but that's not a reason to keep an office like that at the state level. It's time to move on, and I'd like to see a plan from you guys before we come back next year, and hopefully you've already moved.
Okay.
And look, it's pretty. I mean, it's a mall. Come on, that's what it was. And I love the job y'all do, and I've been out there. There's not a state building that cannot accommodate everything y'all do out there. The hearing rooms, the investigative offices, and everything else. And with the price of commercial real estate moving in the direction it's going in, I do not see that city and others of ever giving us a break. It's to their advantage we're there. And the fact that they come in and give us security enhancements that should have been there before, because of the mission inside of that building, and then just to pass the cost along to us. The city of Austell has not invested anything into Post. They invested something in a piece of property, and then got a return on their investment when it come time to renegotiate the contract, or under the contract, their ability to increase, the rent. And again, as much as I do not love the city of Atlanta, it's much more convenient for us to run government where everybody's across the street from each other, and we can walk over and have conversations. And Chairman Albers is absolutely correct that this conversation has been going on for as long as I've been up here, and I've been here 8 years. And we just got to make the change to make it more convenient for the officers going to hearings, and I think for the employees housed in that property. I'm very grateful that your team had the skill set to prevent something terrible from happening. I'm extremely concerned. I hope this individual, I'm sure they were charged.
They are. They're being held without bond in Cobb Court, facing felony charges.
Good. And so I'm sure they will never be a post-certified officer in the state of Georgia ever again.
I doubt it.
Yeah. And I do point out that Georgia Post decertifies more people than any other post council in the country.
That's correct.
Y'all are aggressive, and I appreciate that. My post certification mattered to me. It was very important to me, and it was a point of pride. And I'm glad that y'all are keeping the standards high. And I'm glad your staff was able to respond and handle that situation. That's good work that's a good reflection of you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and now that you're relatively fresh and coming in, I think it's long overdue to let's find something that the state owns, and let's move it in there.
I'll start on that tomorrow.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Any other?
The other issue, the connected issue, is for the security upgrades. Now, I would just point out that security upgrade is a system that we would be able to take with us. It would basically be a panic button system.
Yes.
You've been to our office, you know how sort of labyrinthine it is. And,
Yes.
As I mentioned, this took place in our lobby, and most of the offices are kind of away from there. Had it not been a busy time with people around, that could have gone unnoticed. So this.
Is this? Do you have this already?
We do not. Well, it's an enhancement to the system that we have. We worked with GBA, GBI, State Patrol. We did a complete security assessment after this incident.
Where's the panic buttons located? Are they static or on
No,
desks,
they
or are they
would
on
be
the individual?
They would be handheld or carried on lanyards.
Yes, those are what we use here in this building. So
It's
that would be our
essentially what you have at the Capitol. SBA. GBA.
They won't give me one. They just said whatever happens, happens. But
So we and again, if that money is appropriated, we'd be able to take that system with us. That's the line.
and that's $22,960.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was put in by the governor, and it's been maintained by the House as of right now.
And then the other item is 270.7, our content management system. It was approved in the amended budget to let us go to a box.com system. We opened almost 1,500 cases in 2025. We closed more than 2,500 cases. Each one of those cases is a file that has, at minimum, probably 100 to 200 pieces of paper, and at most, they could have, multiple folders. This would allow us to go to essentially a paperless management system. Again, you've been to our office, you've seen our record room, and for the cost and the efficiency, this is something that we're very excited about starting it, and this is to continue that process.
And with the offset of pulling the 9,823 back from the one-time cloud storage solution, I don't think the 15,000 would be a long reach. So
We don't either.
I do appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question there?
Yes, sir.
For the existing paper records you have, are you going to be scanning those in, or are you going to archive those?
We're probably going to archive those. The cost to scan those several years ago was estimated at over $1 million. It would probably be more now. So our plan is to, from a date certain, to move to this system, but to preserve what we have.
Makes sense. Thank you.
And you'll archive those in your new location?
We'll archive them, hopefully at state archives, and then we'll take the records with us wherever we end up.
All right. Director, I appreciate you.
Thanks.
You have a great day. Yeah. Chuck, you want to step up here? If not, I'm afraid you're going to have a heart attack.
Please, please, please.
Huh? I'm gonna let Chuck talk for 45 seconds. 'Cause
I'm done.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and I will be brief. Chairman Alves, thank you also, and Ms. Boger, Mr. Rogers, thank you, sir. I'll be very brief. My name is Chuck Clay. I'm here representing the Georgia Chiefs of Police Association. The ask is very simple, and I will be short. As you know, we're mandated by state law to provide 20 hours every year to every chief in the state of Georgia. That's now over 600. That also can include command staff, and that is ongoing. The chiefs also, on their own, at no additional cost, provide department certification, which is a 100-point process which they go through with a 4-year review to be reaffirmed or not renewed, in which they'd have to come up to stuff. So very busy, minimal staff, 3 full-time, 2 part-time. Our request, the House added this year $634,000 to our budget. Now, to my friends in Post, it's often confused because these dollars are assigned for purposes of acting as a funnel. For administrative purposes only, these dollars flow through Post, as they should, so you don't have to create another commission just to distribute.
You're saying they're a pass-through?
Yes, sir. And so of that $634,000, we got behind the wheel several years ago. The chief's request is about $309,000 of that. Generally, what's happened is when the chiefs have requested, or the sheriffs, these dollars are somewhat matched. So as this goes forward, you all have to decide. It's generally a 50-50. We just love to see the sheriff certainly deserve theirs. Nobody's worked harder than Terry Nunn to upgrade training and professionalism in the sheriff's department. We feel the same with the chiefs of police. So our request is about $309,000. It was put in the supplemental budget last year, Chairman. So we're not actually asking for more dollars. We appreciated that very much. The problem is we have to budget, like you, prospectively. And when you do it in the supplemental budget, we become retroactively budgeting, and it makes it impossible to have the kind of planning to line up speakers 6 months a year and a half ahead of time. So the only thing we're asking is to move of that 634, however you all see split, 50-50, whatever is fair. But our request is to roll over fundamentally what was in the supplemental budget last year into the big budget this year, so we can budget accordingly.
Chairman Hours.
Chuck, great to see you as always.
Thank you, sir.
When we talk about the dollars, we've had this conversation many times over the years. First one is, rather than just splitting it 50-50, I think we should split it based on the number of agencies and/or either deputies or officers, so we're actually using those dollars in a manner that'd be best used. Just splitting it 50-50, that doesn't make sense to me, so I'd
That's
love to-
kind of what was a tradition for no other reason or tradition. I can give you the reasons why, going back to the distinguished Tom Murphy, but it probably not worthy of
Yeah,
your
but
time.
it's-
It might be a
Yeah.
tradition worth eliminating,
Yes.
but I would like you and Terry to come back to us and Butch and say, this is the actual breakdown, so we know. And the second part of that is this is always the tug of war we play on. You know, these are local folks, right, who have local budgets, whether they be cities, counties, and their budgets, you know, fund everything, training, salaries, et cetera, versus our folks here who are all funded by the state for whether it be our state patrol or GBI, et cetera.
Correct.
So this is the conversation we have every year of why should the state do that versus the locals who do everything else there, and I'd love to hear your answer.
Well, the answer is fairly simple. You all passed the law. And I don't mean that flippantly.
Sure.
As you know, beginning in my career years ago as an assistant district attorney, county and in municipal forces were still a very small minority. As larger, like your county, Cobb County, my county, many others started setting up county police departments. In the wisdom of the General Assembly, they felt that because you all already had been funding the 4-year annual new sheriff's training and a variety of other items in the budget, that the chiefs needed mandated training to ensure, because the chiefs, just like the sheriffs, we've got departments from 6 to 1,000. And without some minimal mandates, that which could be done in Cobb maybe could not be done in Crisp. And we could go, you all know all this. So the General Assembly passed and mandated that this as a state responsibility to require 20 hours of mandate training. It's about, you know, we operate on about 718. This would put it at about $1 million. I can make all the arguments why I think that's a pretty sound investment when you look at the evolution of law enforcement in any capacity, just like the private sector. You look at AI, you look at technology, you look at forensics, you look at office management, you look at technology, you look at morale, you look at the discipline, and you look at all those things that we're in a fast-changing world. You all felt that. Now, obviously, the debate about policy is purely yours, not mine. And I respect anything you all do, and if we can aid in that process, I'd be happy to.
And I appreciate that. I think the challenge always is, by the way, I support this.
No, I understand.
So don't misunderstand.
I
it,
understand.
Is we also mandate that a firefighter have continuing education credits.
Mm-hmm.
We don't pay the fire departments to do that.
Right.
We don't pay the individuals to do that. They just have to do that. So I think that's where we have to one day rationalize what is state and what is local, and how we're differentiating the two of those. And it's not a discussion we're going to
Yeah.
solve today, but I think it's one we're going to want to have when we're not in session.
And Chuck, I want to be clear.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to the curriculum, this right here, curriculum is developed not by the state, correct? These curriculums are developed by the Georgia Sheriff Association and the Georgia Chief Association, correct?
Generally, yes, sir.
Every other deputy sheriff, police officer, firefighter, and every post-certified individuals within those ranks, their curriculum is created through GIPSTIC, which is a state agency, approved by Post, which is a
Correct.
state agency.
Correct.
And put out that way. These right here, we have very little control over the training that comes through this funding. So
As it exists
to
now.
Chairman Albert's point, you know, this isn't training that we have any control over. I appreciate Speaker Murphy and what their thought, but, you know, you said this is what y'all did. Well, y'all weren't around then. These two guys
No, I
weren't.
understand. That's
And
what I'm
so
saying. It's
it was
irrelevant.
it was a different world back then.
No question.
And so that is a conversation I think we need to have. Now,
Absolutely.
saying that, I agree with you. This should not be in the supplemental budget, since this is something that y'all come back with every year. And
We don't have to if you'll do this.
well, no, that's what I'm saying. If we move it over, make it put it in the big budget. But the other part of that conversation is 50-50 is not math. It depends on, each side should have a budget. We should know exactly where every penny goes because we're responsible, as you know, for every penny that goes out of this building. We have not earned any of it. And so.
Music to my ears, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman.
So a budget from both associations would make me very happy.
We'd be delighted,
But I do agree with your point of moving this where it needs
No,
to
and
be.
I thank you very, very much. And I'll speak for my firefighter friends. Maybe you ought to consider doing for them what you did for us.
Hey, and when those budgets, and I'll get it out to Terry today, I need those by tomorrow
For,
for where this money's going.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've got it all. I thought I'd given it to you.
Yeah,
But I'll-
I need yours and the Georgia Sheriff's Association. I don't see Terry in the room.
I didn't know I was looking for him.
But, sir,
I was looking for him, I didn't either.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've got that, and
Okay.
I thought I'd given it to you, but I'll
Yeah.
have it on your desk today, certainly by tomorrow at the latest.
Thank
If
you.
he wants to update it.
I think the sheriff's deputies don't get up to about 10:30 in the morning, if my memory serves. Is that right?
no, they're actually out protecting fire stations right now.
Mr. Chairman, that's why they call me the lovely Mrs. Clay's idiot son Chuck. That's why I'm here and Butch is elsewhere.
Thank you, Chuck.
It's a great team. Thank you, guys.
Good to see you. We're on our best behavior, Jennifer.
I think we're good. As long as we got Jennifer sitting between us, we're not
Yeah.
in trouble, are we?
Yeah.
That's right.
And the blue in the front row?
Yeah. So we got through, so we're down to the two, right?
Yeah.
Department of Public Safety. Is there anybody here from the Department of Public Safety? They put the meanest guy on the end, right? Oh, it's okay.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good to see
Good
y'all.
morning.
Chairman.
So, good morning, Chairman and Senator Albers. Thank you all for having us this morning. So, Colonel Hitchens couldn't join and sends his apologies, but he is joining us online.
Who is?
Colonel Hitchens.
Oh, I didn't realize Hawaii had Zoom. That's good, though. So,
So I'm Lori Smith. I'm the CFO for Department of Public Safety, and with me I have Major Rodewalt, who is over our South adjunct.
Good morning.
So for our, aside from the statewide adjustments, we have two lines to present. So ours is starting on page 44, and it's 266.6.
page 71 for us.
Okay.
Okay. 266.7,
Point six.
0.6.
So we presented this in the amended budget. It's the $1 million swap from DPS over to GMA for the protection of communities. So that's just a continuation from the amended.
Yeah.
Okay?
Let's jump down to 266.7.
Okay, so for 266.7, that is for hardening and protection of our patrol vehicles for $300,000. And what this will be is $3,000 for, $6,000 for 50 vehicles for us to do a pilot project. So that will be the hardening and protection of our vehicles.
And these are ballistic windshields
Yes.
and side glass on the front of the cockpit of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think this is a wise decision. I really appreciate you guys doing this. As we've seen in recent years, the modus operandi of most individuals are trying to neutralize a trooper, law enforcement officer before they can exit their vehicle. And so I think this is a great idea. My only concern is that our troopers are still able to engage from sitting in their vehicle.
Yes, sir.
That the windshield would not inhibit them from engaging with a long gun if need be.
Yes, sir.
And so, but I'm sure this is, the research is there. I'm sure this is a well-established company providing this equipment, and I really appreciate y'all putting the safety of the folks, as you always have done, as the number one thing that y'all look for in the budget process and in the day-to-day operations of the agency. Anything else?
So we do have some bond projects. They are standard requests from previous
Right.
years.
And I think we moved some over to the bond in the amended budget in order to help y'all move forward with K-9 programs and other things.
Yes, sir.
What about the reserve troopers?
So we have worked on that budget. So currently, we have 17 reserve troopers that we use throughout different programs within the agency. So if they are a part-time flight with the helicopter unit and aviation, then they are paid at $48 per hour. And then the other auxiliary troopers are paid at $40 per
Okay.
hour.
Now, do y'all refer to them as auxiliary troopers?
Yes,
Is
that
that
is
the
what we call them.
terminology?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct.
Excellent. And these are 30-hour week?
So they're 20-hour per week, so it doesn't mess up their retirement benefits.
Right.
So our thought is,
Would 30 mess up their retirement benefit? Because I thought the federal standard
Well-
was as long as they didn't go over 30, then they wouldn't have to qualify for health care retirement since they already have that.
so for an auxiliary trooper that's assigned to Capitol Police. as
Give me
an
just
example-
one second.
okay.
Give me one second. Yeah.
This phone is possessed. You come on all the time by itself. Oh, sorry.
It's Apple.
Very sorry. Excuse
They're
me.
getting us. Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
So for an auxiliary trooper that would be assigned to Capitol Police, obviously, they're going to get the majority of their hours, during session. But then for an auxiliary trooper that's assigned to aviation for our governor's task force mission, they are going to get their hours during the summer season when they're doing, their flights. So some of it is seasonal. So we typically average it out to be 20 hours, but they can get up to 30.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Chairman Albers.
And I assume these are folks like, Butch, who's retired, came back and is helping us out at the Capitol and folks
Right,
like that.
right.
Great. What is our total number of troopers now?
So we currently have 890
Okay.
with the 30 that graduated last Friday.
Wonderful. My hope and prayer one day is we're going to hit that magic 1,000 number that we've been talking about for a long time.
Yes, that's our goal.
Do we have a plan to get to 1,000?
So currently, we have 41 troopers in class as cadets, and then we will have another class that starts in July. We have explored bringing in a program as we used to, maybe calling it troop cadets versus dispatchers, and this would allow us to get that gap between 18 and 21-year-old time to go ahead and come on with the agency, get some experience, learn the culture, learn territory, go ahead and get some of their GCIC out of the way, just kind of the preliminary stuff before they could go to trooper school. So we're exploring that option.
And the current school and the other one this summer, are they both full schools, or are these some of the ones who are already post-certified we're bringing in the smaller
So
school?
we used to do them separate as a traditional school and an accelerated trooper school, but we found that the retention was better having both of the groups combined. So as you're getting through some of the skills testing, this allows, the accelerated trooper path to kind of encourage those
Osmosis.
traditional.
Yeah.
Yes. So we found that some of the camaraderie was segregated maybe when we did the traditional path and the accelerated path. So there is a point in class when they do separate. So the accelerated trooper goes to the field training sooner, but they still graduate as one class.
Thank you.
I think that is genius that y'all put them in there together. I think it creates a mentorship, an understanding, and through osmosis, these young men and women that have never experienced public safety to be in a room with those that have. I would be shocked if grade averages and everything else weren't going up because of being in the room with experienced men and women. And I do appreciate what y'all are doing on the auxiliary trooper program. I hope to see that's something y'all can expand to help, especially in times of, we've got the World Cup coming, all this other kind of stuff. And when it comes to managing the safety of our roadways, there's no one better than a Georgia State Trooper and the Department of Public Safety here in Georgia. And so I really appreciate y'all focusing on that. And I, along with Chairman Albers, do want to see y'all get to 1,000 101 troopers. But one thing y'all got to do is get the good ones to stop retiring so fast.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we have seen that number slow down.
And then a couple of them, maybe you need to encourage to retire quicker.
We have seen that number slow down with the pay increases that we've received
Good.
over the past couple of years. And I think, with our retirement bill, I think that's going to help with our attrition as well.
Fantastic.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to reiterate what we always talk about. The number of troopers on the road versus the number of highway deaths are absolutely connected. The more we have out there, the less people lose their lives on our roads. It's the greatest investment we're ever going to make in protecting the public.
Yeah, and I want to say in closing, if y'all don't have anything else, Lori, thank you so much for working with us and for coming to the meetings and having those conversations. And I think at the end of everything, we all have the exact same mission, and I've just been extremely impressed by you and y'all's team, and thank you so much for what you've done.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank y'all
Good
very
seeing
much.
you.
We
Thank
appreciate
y'all.
it.
Gypstick.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir, ma'am.
Morning.
And you look brighter than last time I saw you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Your hair's gotten longer. I don't know what it is.
I just got it cut yesterday. It should be fairly short.
Well, exactly. I got,
Did you
let's
pay
see.
full price?
I did not.
I got mine cut last Saturday, and I'm getting it cut this Saturday. So, gotta stay on schedule.
That's correct.
Gets out of hand fast. Director,
Good.
the floor is yours. If I think you know the items we're here to talk about.
Yes, sir. We'll go-
271.9.
We got one before that, 271.8 as well.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
So-
It's not one of ours, but I'm happy to listen.
Okay, well, that's the one with the retirement enhancement. The House added that on the original proposal. We were left out of that, and it boiled down to just job descriptions with our law enforcement officers that are also instructors. You know that we advertise ours as a post-certified instructor and just took for granted them being post-certified. And so that was overlooked by some people that didn't understand the process of being post-certified.
They
So
didn't realize that your instructors were post-certified?
that's correct.
Oh,
So that has
wow.
now been fixed.
Good.
And the job codes will be correct, that it won't happen in the future. But the House went back and added that retirement benefit, and that will help us with the retention of our instructors
Great.
for some
That's what
time.
happens when you elect non-law enforcement people into the legislature. You realize that, right?
Yes, sir.
And firefighters. I want to include those.
Thank you. Ed.
Because I could feel him looking at me when I said it.
Well, and since you brought up firefighters, I will bring that up. So this is
Yeah.
public safety specific.
Right.
For law enforcement. Us at the training center employ a great number of firefighter instructors as well.
Right.
And for me, this creates a good bit of controversy, because I've got one instructor that will fall under this retirement plan and another instructor that will not, because they're not post-certified law. And this was specific law enforcement, so let me be clear. But in the future, my thought was we need to get our foot in the door and get our post-certified law enforcement officers in this retirement. But I would like in the future, maybe next year when we come back, try to expand that to our certified firefighters.
I think that would be the right thing to do, and I think that's a conversation that you and myself and Chairman Albers need to have sooner than later, so that we can be prepared to argue that point. I do agree with you.
And we had that conversation this year, but we were,
I think parity is extremely important throughout law enforcement as a whole and throughout firefighting as a whole, but especially when we get into a specialized area like gypstick. I think all of our instructors sitting in the room, no matter what their curriculum is, I think they should all be on even balanced footing.
Yes, sir.
And so absolutely, I think that's the right thing to do.
yes, sir. Well, thank you for listening to that. The next is 271.9. So we were funded in the amended budget for a statewide radio system. In that system, it paid for the radios and the one-year fees. It did not include the continuing fees that would go. So this increase would allow us to continue that radio service.
And what are those fees? The 97.5 covers what?
So that is the monthly usage fees for each radio.
Okay,
So that is, it's the usage fees through Southern Link.
Southern Link.
Yes,
So
that's correct. So it's the
that's
same
who
one that
that's who will
DPS is
receive
on.
this money.
That's correct.
All right. that we just need some clarification on that.
Yes, sir.
Which our friends across the hall tend to lack in providing on occasion.
Yes, sir.
All right?
And then 27110,
And that's based on legislation?
it is, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
the 171-117 is based on legislation that myself and Chairman Albers supported on dealing with individuals with Alzheimer's.
That is correct.
I think that's a noble cause, and with the population of Alzheimer's sufferers increasing in Georgia, I think it's wise to move forward. But I do want to touch base on you is there going to be the opportunity to do some of this training online?
So last year, when the legislation passed, that's what we were able to do to not get the position last year, is we put, with the legislation passing, we put it online. So there's current classes online currently. With this position, that gives us an opportunity to go out in the field and teach throughout the state. And we're not only teaching law enforcement, it will be for all public safety, because a lot of times there's an EMS call
That's right.
that a firefighter or EMS personnel shows up and they don't realize that there's abuse going on. So this is to better educate them on recognizing abuse of an elder and potentially calling in law enforcement to investigate that.
And because I normally take the elder abuse program online from
Yes, sir.
home when I do that, so I was just going to see if that was the same
Yeah, so
format.
we've enhanced some of those classes, and so that was the agreement last year, is we would do an online approach just to meet the legislation.
Yeah.
And then come back this year with the position.
Because you know you and I are about to qualify as elder, right?
I believe we're there.
About to, yeah. Anything else you would like to discuss, Director?
So there is one add as far as a bond request that the House added, and it is for technology upgrades on our online system and some HVAC. Other than that, that's
Okay, and you receive funding for the hearing, for the
That is correct.
audio
Yes, sir.
equipment?
And so
Yeah.
we have not put that out for a bid yet, but we
Right.
did recruit.
At some point, I would love to come out there and see exactly what y'all are going to do with that. I love the idea of y'all doing the grant program and reaching out to the local agencies and being supportive.
Yes, sir. I'll
That's
make sure
great.
you're involved.
I appreciate you. Anything else we can do for y'all?
No, sir, I think that's it.
All right. Y'all have a great day. Stay dry.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody here from GIFSTIC? GISFIC. Yeah. I see him sitting in the back.
Yeah, so that falls under Chris, who was just here. That's the chipstick.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm doing well. If you'll just identify yourself, yeah, they,
A couple of data points for you on there.
what always scares me is if they ever got the font big enough so I could read it. I'm thinking about how big the sheet of paper would have to be.
Yeah, I tried so hard to get the font bigger last night, and I need some help when I get back to the office on that one.
Well, listen, we invited you in. We just got a few questions.
Okay.
Just want you to update us on where our projects are, the ones that you manage for GDC.
Yes, sir.
Want to know if y'all faced any hurdles that you did not anticipate,
Okay.
and have we funded enough? You know, has our funding been where it needs to be to get us to where we need to be?
Okay. Great,
Okay.
sir. So Charlie Parrish, I'm Director of Operations with GISFIC. Yes, we've been overseeing Department of Corrections projects. As of right now, the active projects that we've been updating you all on from the amended 25 and the 26 budgets from last session, the 32 projects, 31 of those are active. Of course, we have one inactive project based on the redirect from the amended budget. But of the 6 designs, they're all going well. They're all ongoing and on schedule, so we'll be prepared for the construction that y'all funded in the amended budget a couple weeks ago. So those are all going well. Construction projects, we did complete our first Max Mod, Dodge State Prison. So we're excited about that. We have 2 more where we have our State Fire Marshal inspection scheduled over the next 3 weeks. So those are going well. As of right now, overall, we have 2 pending projects. Those are waiting for the completion of other projects, so they're going to start in the next fiscal year at this point. Same as we've been talking about before and updated y'all previously. We have 2 that are in final pricing, the ones that we had talked about last time, the lock and control projects at Johnson and Calhoun State Prison. So those are on schedule to get started. We have locks ordered and are on schedule to start those projects. We are running into a couple of complications with the budget. We've been working through that as far as making sure we get the complete scope on those, and so we're working with the agency on those. But I think right now we're going to keep that with the money we have, and accomplish what we need to do. But we'll keep an eye on that with everybody, and I'll let y'all know if we have any major issues. Lock swap projects are ongoing. Of course, we've been working at Smith State Prison since we met last. Phillips State Prison is on schedule to start next week, actually. They've finished, the agency's finishing up moving the bed space, opening up the bed space for us. And we have all the lock deliveries are on schedule for that one, and Macon State Prison for when we can release that bed space wise. So far, so good on all of the lock projects. As far as the other projects, roofs, cameras, fire alarms, they're all ongoing. And on schedule, no major concerns. We've had minor construction issues with rain and bad soils and things that we planned for, so I wouldn't call any of that unforeseen or a problem at this point. Of course, just what we deal with every day. And the only issue we have right now as far as starting projects, which really isn't anything that the committee can help with, we on our MEP Tiger team, we lost one of our partners, so we're redirecting there. Us and the agency are ready with several projects to go with that Tiger team. We had one verbal commitment that we were in contracting with, and they decided that they were too busy to take on the work. So we're pivoting a little bit and working on that. But we do have projects ready, and we'll be spending that money down pretty aggressively once we get that partner on board. Other than that, sir, all of our projects are going really well, honestly. Our new facility in Davisboro is actually on schedule. Obviously working through the rain, getting the precast concrete set. We have 2 cranes out there throwing up buildings, with the 3rd one on the way. And our renovation at Autry State Prison is actually going well. We've received our air handler units, which are a major delivery item driving our schedule. So we are on schedule to open up those beds so that we can complete the projects that y'all funded a couple weeks ago in the amended 26. So, I think that's all of them. Of course, emergency funds continue to spend our Tiger Team lock projects. We are up to 4 Tiger teams now, supporting the agency across the state. We started with 1 team, and we've ramped up, and within 3 weeks we're at 4, and we've been steady at 4, keeping them busy. So that's going well. We're working on gathering.
How do y'all prioritize where the Tiger teams go?
The lock team with GDC can probably speak in more detail to that. Essentially, the way we have it set up is their lock folks identify with the facilities where there's a need, where there's locks that need maintenance, maybe they've been attempted to be stuffed, dealt with. They identify those, assign the Tiger teams out, and then the Tiger teams, basically the next week or 2 weeks out would go tackle those once they get the parts gathered.
Okay, great.
So those are the past projects. As far as the projects y'all funded 2 weeks ago, we've already had our kickoff with the agency. We're receiving the documents for the designs that are complete, and we are working to line up contractors and site walks. So ready to prepare all those projects seem good and viable, and no issues with the funding that we received. We'll get started on those projects, and then I think that's it. I mean, high level, did y'all have any specific questions about any specific projects?
No, just wanted to get updated. It's what I did, Chairman Albers, or Madam? Yeah? Yes, ma'am. Let's see, what mic are you, is that 11? Yeah,
Yes,
just
it is.
pull
Thank
that
you,
mic a little
sir.
closer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I talk loud. I'm Senator James, and I'd like to know about, is so many jails without any locks? Because I'm getting calls from either the inmates or their spouses or family. And
Senator James, if I can just say it, he only does prisons.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Only, okay.
Something he
But
can brag to his
it's
family about.
so-
He's only
That's
does
right.
Yeah,
prisons.
so most of them are on here, because, I get calls about prisons too.
Yes, ma'am.
And some of one particular guy's been there 15 years, and he was I think Navy person, and had been on leave and got with the wrong crowd and somebody got killed, but it wasn't him doing it. He's been there 15 years. He said, now anybody can walk in and out of his little, I call it cage, but
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. And-
Sale.
it's a
Yes,
prison.
cell,
though.
yes, ma'am.
I'll
that-
talk to you on the side, I guess.
Yeah, and that's something that I think when the commissioner comes up and speaks, it's something he can probably better address with his
Right.
operations team.
Okay.
But that is why we are supporting these projects
Yeah.
and trying to get the right locking systems on these projects so everybody's safe.
Because I think the most important thing is that when the doors are supposed to be locked, they're locked, and when they're not supposed to be locked, they're unlocked.
Yes, sir.
And so, because what we do not want to do, and I think to Senator James's point, is we don't want to treat these rooms like cages where individuals are trapped inside of a room, but where when it's time for everybody to go out into the day room or to go out into the exercise yard and everything else, they're able to do that according to the schedule that's established by the staff. And then at night or other times when they need to be in their room in a safe place and secured, we want to make sure that we have a lock that can handle that.
Yes, sir.
And in the past, these locks have become so antiquated and undependable that people were able to manipulate them, break them, jam them, do whatever. And because of doing that, it gave bad actors the opportunity to injure and even kill individuals that we're responsible for keeping safe while they're being held by the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Yes, sir.
That be right?
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate, everybody thinks, that, everybody knows who the Georgia Department of Corrections is, but a lot of, your people fly way under the radar and do an incredible job to help us look like we're doing an incredible job also. So I really appreciate what y'all are doing. I appreciate the coordination, the logistics, and everything y'all have worked through, especially when our logistics were really jammed up a few years ago, and y'all really untied the knots and got things done, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Chairman Albers, anything, sir? All right. Appreciate you, Charlie.
Thank you, sir. Thank y'all. Thank you, committee. Thank you.
Somebody here from Core Civic? Good morning. If you'll pick a mic and introduce yourself real quick, I just got a couple of questions.
Sure thing. Morning, Mr. Chairman. Morning, Chairman Albers, Senator James. Tyler Mashburn with Core Civic. It's good to be here with y'all.
Tyler, currently, y'all have any additional bed space today at any of your facilities? And if so, which ones?
We do have additional bed space. We have worked with the executive branch and the department to identify bed space. But the amount that's left in the budget for the 263 beds, the 160 at Coffee and the 103 at Wheeler, represent the bed space that can be filled and utilized by GDC at this time. So we support that number. We are, of course, willing to work, with our partners at GDC and then work with, of course, the desires of the members of the General Assembly to expand our, bed space offerings to the GDC, but right now we feel comfortable with that number that is included in the budget currently.
And what's that daily per diem rate?
That is $44.04.
44.4?
Yes, sir.
44.04?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Any questions by the committee? Okay. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you, sir.
very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
What time is it? Okay. Centurion?
Yep, he's got the vote.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and let everybody know all three mics are hot. Each person wants to grab a mic.
Good morning.
Good morning. If you just identify yourself and.
Good morning, and thanks for the time this morning. Tim Harlan, I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Centurion, and I have with me Stacy Scott, who's our Vice President of Operations for the Physical Health Contract, and Dr. Lolita Roan, who oversees our Mental Health and Dental Contract.
Whenever you're ready, Tim.
Yeah, we're here to talk about 110.6.7 and .8. If it's okay with the committee, I've got some PowerPoint slides that support the points that we'd like to make, and I'll just walk through those.
All right. Just as a quick reminder, we have 2 contracts. Centurion oversees the dental and mental health contract. We have been in that contract since 1997, so 26 years. And it has 436 FTE. In addition, there's the physical health contract, and we have been in that since July of 2024 with roughly just shy of 1,100 FTEs. As I said, we want to talk about 110.6.7 and .8, and I'll kind of go through those in order. Next slide, please. So item 110.6 for the physical health contract, the governor and the House budgets are fairly aligned for a total of $47.9 million from the governor and $48.7 million from the House. Next slide, please.
Yeah, Chairman
Yes.
Albers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We can go back one, please. Actually, no, that's fine. Every year in the 16 years that I've been here, we have to increase the healthcare costs. And every year we say, no, this will get us to par. And then every year it keeps going up and up and up. If we approve this year, are we going to be in the same position next year with another increase?
So the short answer is, yeah, healthcare costs go up. They go up every year, right? The cost of nurses go up, cost of doctors go up, cost of sending somebody outside the wire to a hospital, to an emergency room to get a diagnostic imaging, MRI. Those go up every year. I think there's a Price Waterhouse study out there that shows that healthcare inflation is averaging like 8% a year. So it's far outpacing just general inflation.
I think, though, what we've been trying to work on, is, at least maybe the last 5 or 6 years, is how do we do it differently? How do we attack this differently, whether it's how we're getting medications, how we're having people inside and outside the wire, working with different agencies and different solutions. And it just seems like we're on a never-ending expansion that one day we're just not going to be able to swallow anymore.
Yeah, it's an interesting question to pose, and one we would certainly engage in. You know, what does a contractual escalator look like that tries to capture these costs so that you don't have to come back every year? Inside of these numbers, though, is more than just inflation. There's some scope increases, some added beds. So there's a variety of things that are embedded in that increase.
Well, Tim,
but we
would
would
you-
absolutely welcome that conversation.
Tim, would you agree to Chairman Albert's point, though? We can say Price Waterhouse says that healthcare costs go up 8% annually, but they're talking about healthcare in general. What we've seen in Department of Corrections is we've seen longer life expectancy. We've seen, in many cases, better health outcomes because of the fact that a huge percentage of this population prior to coming to prison did not have health care. So we've seen dental health improve, we've seen mental health improve, and we've seen physical health improve. So our numbers that we should be looking at are different than, I believe, the numbers that Price Waterhouse is probably looking at. I
Yeah.
think they're looking at everybody in Metro Atlanta, New York, California, and in rural United States. And while our prison is a microcosm of that, everybody inside a prison has the availability of health care, where everybody outside does not. Is that not true?
That's very true, right? But you could argue the flip side of that, right? Which is you have an adverse selected population that has not gotten the health care, that has not been to their primary care doc year,
Initially.
manage their hypertension and all of
Initially.
that. Correct.
Yes.
Which could lead to even more chronic care challenges or issues downstream. There are studies that show that prison populations present roughly 10 years older, right? So if you're 60 in prison, you're dealing with chronic care issues that a 70-year-old would deal with in the free world.
Many do.
Correct.
And then you have those anomalies that come in that have been a part of healthcare, have been a part of a healthcare system. So we're looking for somewhat of an average, right? And has your industry, have y'all conducted any studies to look at the flow of healthcare inside of institutions compared to healthcare outside of prison?
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that
I just
research.
think that'd be a fascinating comparison to look at.
Sure.
Especially in your industry, because I think y'all do have a lot of success, because we are focusing on a captive
Correct.
patient
Yeah,
population.
you're exactly right in that regard, right? When you talk about managing population health,
Right.
which is a huge initiative in the free world, right? How do we
Right.
better manage people to better care, better habits, deal with social determinants? Inside of a prison, you have this almost ideal population or environment rather, in which to ensure that they get their medications, that they're seen on a regular basis for their heart disease, their diabetes, and so forth. So yes, in that sense, although they are adverse selected probably coming in, there's an opportunity to do things that many in the free world would love to have, right, with their populations.
Yeah, and I think it's easier for them to get a doctor's appointment sometimes than it is for myself and Senator James to get one.
I think that's very true.
Yeah, all right. So I think that's something we would like to look at. So let me ask you this. What's the difference between the 47, we'll say 48 million and 49 million?
I don't know the answer to
Yeah.
that. I asked, I don't know if it's census or timing.
Yeah, GDC said they'll answer. They're all pointing to their ears. Yeah. Together, in unison, they were pointing to their ears, so, yeah. Okay.
All right, next slide. And we just covered most of this, right? That there's a per diem increase embedded in those numbers. There's additional scope increases. One of the things I'll point out on the additional scope, which I'm excited about, because we just talked about, this is public safety. There's a medically intensive infirmary that's being brought online as we speak.
Yes.
And that will be able to bring back, I don't know, roughly 18 to 20 patients that are currently in free world facilities and provide that same level of care, but do it behind the wire, and that's in partnership with ModCorps. So very excited about that. It represents innovation, good partnership with the department.
And Tim, for those outside the wire, getting the health care that we are obligated to provide, have how the conversation's going with related to that risk cost between yourself and the department?
Actually, very well. We've arrived at an understanding, and we have worked through the amendments necessary to
A
address.
contractual understanding or a handshake?
No, contractual understanding. Thank you. Yeah.
Good, thank you. I appreciate, it seems like y'all have been working on that for quite a while and not making any progress, and so I appreciate both sides willing to, put the nose to the grindstone and get it done.
Correct. And thank you. Yeah, thanks for the
It
nudge.
was very
but-
frustrating for us.
Yeah, well, it is worked out, and it includes, the old expression, skin in the game on our behalf, right?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, the next two, 110.7 and 110.8, pertain to mental health and dental, and that's where you'll see the biggest delta between what the governor proposed and what the House proposed. We are in strong support of the House number, and we've talked to this committee on several occasions as to why, right? Why that is. And we have been advocating very hard for an increase in these budget numbers. Next slide, please.
And Tim, real quick on the mental health side, the 12 million, that is based on the conversations that you and I have had.
Correct.
And that you and I and Chairman Tillery have had.
Correct.
Based on basically some of the positions
That is correct.
within the healthcare community and trying to keep good healthcare workers with us. Would that be right?
That's 100% accurate.
And that number is a third of what we initially spoke of, close, or at least a quarter maybe?
I'm sorry, when
12 million, that was not the number. Originally, the number we spoke of was in the 50s, is that correct?
correct, and I
Yeah.
can provide some context to
No,
that.
I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that,
Yep.
that we, through conversation and through flexibility, we're able to get to a number that's not the best thing in the world, but it gets us to where we need to be for right now.
Correct, and I can crosswalk us to this number and to that 57 million.
Okay.
In essence, there are two issues inside of mental health and dental. The first one is what you just referred to, sir, which is the wages.
Yeah.
The last time we were able to give a wage increase or a raise to the personnel that work inside that was 2022. as we just talked about, right? Medical inflation has just ramped up. Coming out of COVID, it's been enormous. And that impacted wages in particular. So inside of that contract, you have psychiatrists, psychologists, you have licensed counselors, you have a variety of very talented people that the rest of the world wants to hire, and they haven't gotten a raise since 2022. So the first piece of the conversations that we've had was around, how do we get people to market so that we don't lose them at the levels we're losing them, and that we're able to hire them into this program. And that was a piece of that $57 million. And the second piece was the FTE complement, right? If you take the staffing matrix, which is what we're bound by, and it has for each of those positions inside the contract how many FTEs we're allowed, what we're allowed to pay them. And you compare that to the just growing mental health caseloads that have occurred since 2022. That workload has far outpaced that staffing matrix. That staffing matrix has remained static, and yet the mental health caseload is up, roughly 30%. We've got data that can support that. There are standard operating procedures that say, hey, as your caseloads go up, your staffing ratio should also go up, right? So if they're saying, for example, there should be one licensed counselor for X number of people on the mental health caseload, then that's an algorithm, right? That's a calculation.
And who says this?
The SOPs inside the department say that.
Okay. And the SOPs inside the department, are they based on national standards, or are they based on the standards within the department?
The national standards are a little more vague. They don't have a hard ratio. They use language that says something like the responsible healthcare authority shall ensure appropriate resources to address the mental health needs, right?
So I think, that may be a better answered by the department then. Thank you, Tim.
Mm-hmm. So those were the two issues. Those in total are that $57 million, sir, that you referred to. When we've had our conversations, and what we've been sort of consistent throughout all of our committee hearings, both on the House side and the Senate side, is we get that that's a big number. But we can solve this in pieces. We can solve this through sort of a sequence, if you will. And that first piece is addressing the staff wages. If we can give the folks that are currently in this program a raise, that's going to, A, retain them, but B, it would also allow us to recruit at market to fill some of the vacancies that we're seeing. So that what you see in the House proposed budget, which is over what the governor proposed, is a very meaningful, very important step towards addressing the wage issue. It does not address the second issue related to the FTE complement, but address that wage issue to ensure that we can bring the program to better stability, retain the folks that we have, and hire the folks that we need. So, sir, that number is significantly less than what you and I talked about, but that's how we got to the number that's currently in the House.
Well, Tim, I appreciate your engagement throughout this entire process. I know you have a lot of responsibilities way beyond, coming to the Capitol and meeting on multiple occasions. I respect what you do. You're a necessary and valuable component to operating our prisons safely. I am appreciative of the fact that the average lifespan of a human being from what it used to be inside of our prisons has increased substantially, and a lot of that credit goes to a good health care program. And while I understand it's getting expensive, most citizens drive by prisons, most taxpayers drive by prisons every day and don't know what goes on inside and do not care. All they hear are giant numbers. And I think and whether you and I agree or not, we both understand to where a psychiatrist working in a prison, to get them to standard would be $400,000 a year. And that would just be, while I understand there's competition outside, I think for them to go out and hang a shingle and open up their own small business and recruit patients and others, I think that we get them where we can get them to with the state tax dollar, and hopefully they understand our predicament.
Sure.
Because while Senator Hatchett could go and work for a government and be a very successful attorney, he chose the tough path, and he's got a shingle hanging out, and he and his partners have to get out there and work hard every day. And And he's very successful at doing that, where he could take the easy path and go be in-house somewhere or work for the government, which is the easiest place, I think, to do it. But I do appreciate you understanding the conversation and appreciating the point of view, whether we agree or not. I want you to be successful because y'all have a track record around the country of doing things the best way, and we appreciate y'all being in Georgia.
Well, thank you. And I would just like to make one point to your comment, because I do agree. There's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which we are bound by contractually to use in any conversation that we have about wage increases and where to peg those wages. We've got some other slides, but we don't need to necessarily go through them. But in every case, right, where we looked at it by job category, there's a corresponding Bureau of Labor Statistic code. We are, in our numbers back to the department, ultimately to the assembly, is those numbers are lower than the Bureau of Labor Statistic actual because of exactly what you said, right? Our ability to recruit doesn't require that we're at 100% of that market for a variety of reasons. And you can see in the data that we have provided in support of our numbers that we are in fact below those for those job codes.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I use those same statistics when I travel around the country and argue for pay and benefits for law enforcement. I receive the same thing. When I'm in certain parts of the country, those numbers hit direct on mark. And then when I get into other parts of the country, I did a lot of meet and confer in the South, and they were just unable to get to those numbers. But that's the exact data I used arguing for that. And in a perfect world, we would hit it everywhere on every occupation. But for the quality that we get from your team when we are, in many cases, unable to hit that mark, I appreciate the dedication and focus y'all have of giving us the services if we were paying those amounts.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. James, Senator James.
Hello. I'm Chairwoman James, and I'm very concerned about the mental health. I see that I'm looking at the costs of the staff and those things. But in the system, what's your caseload? How big is it?
Well, the caseloads vary. Our caseloads vary, so depending on the scope of services and the facilities, caseloads can range for counselors from 15 to 75. That's what our SOPs dictate. However, we have many institutions where counselors have caseloads upwards of 300 that prevent them from doing the scope of work that they need to do. And that's really because of the population growth over the last few years.
Thank you. And I'm trying to get a handle on why all the inmates who are calling me or writing me are saying that they're probably the only one that is sane in the whole place, that they do have so many people. And then the judges from our local areas are saying too that your prisons and your jails are just full of people who need to be getting help rather than being incarcerated. So do you find that it's most, I'm trying to see if we need to get some hospitals or something to put them in instead of burying them under the jail?
Well, yes, ma'am. And to your point, Chairwoman, that is why we recommended and passed out a budget that added $409 million so we can build the first mental health hospital in the state of Georgia since the 1960s.
Right.
Matter of fact, I think it was 62, and since I was born that year, I can tell you that was a long time ago. But
Not too long.
One other thing,
right behind you.
right? But one other thing we have too, if we go back and look at the expansion of pharmaceuticals, if we look at the expansion of the DSM-5 and the DSM-5-TR, where we see more and more conditions are being classified as mental health conditions. When I was growing up, they were classified as being a young man, being a young lady for my sisters. And so we've gotten into such a position in this country where sometimes what is normal is being diagnosed as something not normal, which is to the benefit of large pharmaceutical companies and others. And also, a lot of these individuals coming into our prisons have experienced things in life that none of us would have wanted to experience. But what they did is they made a choice because of that experience that impacted another person, a victim. And so what we've discovered is when they get in there, we do have individuals like this that do spend a lot of time helping these individuals try to move out of that. They do it sometimes through medication and counseling. Many times, we've even moved to the point now where some of our pharmaceuticals we're looking at going from daily doses to monthly injections, which tend to have a better impact on the individual because they're able to maintain the amount of medication they need to get them to the point. I think the ultimate goal of any good physician, whether they be in mental health, dental health, or physical health, is to get the person well. And I think what we're seeing in our prisons is we are seeing people get well, but at the same time, we still have people coming in through the other door that are not well. And so when we separate those two populations out, I think right now the quality of health care in our prisons is really, really good. But as long as that front door is open and people keep coming in, we're always going to have people that need to be treated. And I think they're doing a good job. I really do. And I think the first time Tim came into my office, I think we agree what our goal is. It's just sometimes we want to pass play and sometimes we want to run play, and that's where we need to figure it out. And I think by providing this additional funding and additional funding in the future, because he's absolutely right, the economics of healthcare is going to continue to rise, so we're going to keep having to invest in healthcare. But you're right. And if anybody's getting buried under the jail, then I think everybody knows that's a felony. So,
I didn't mean it literally, of course, but some they think that they're being buried.
They do, and I got several hundred letters in my office from Department of Corrections. I'm a pen pal with a gentleman in the Fulton County Jail that's in there for murdering 3 homeless people, and they write me all the time. I get them at my post office box at home, and I don't have an ill feeling toward any of them, and I want them to be treated humanely. I've got a poster in my office. The people in prison have the exact same rights to be treated humanely as you and I do. And I think it's mine and your job to make sure they are being treated fairly.
But 300 sometime in a caseload and how can you meet that demand? You need more workers then.
Absolutely. We do need additional FTE to support the missions, and we survive at this point by really prioritizing and triaging the best care, because with those types of ratios, obviously doing everything the way that it should be, it becomes very, very challenging.
And what employee, what title of employee, classification of employee has a 300-person caseload?
That would be mental health counselors. And even if you look at our category for psychiatry right now, our ratio should be 1 to about 250. Our psychiatrists are carrying caseloads upwards of 600.
Okay. Give me an example of a caseload. If we're name a prison, if you will, here in Georgia, where who determines the caseload? Is the caseload, we're talking about mental health, is this everything from anxiety to schizophrenia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and can we agree that anxiety and schizophrenia are thousands of miles apart?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I just want to be clear on that. When we say it like, carrying a caseload of 600 for a psychiatrist, well, I can promise you we all suffer from anxiety at some point. And if you really want to suffer from anxiety, go to jail or prison. You're going to be anxious. But when we talk about schizophrenia, we're talking about an entirely different problem. And so I just want to be clear that we're talking apples and apples.
Right.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you would have everyone on a caseload that has general mental illness to those that we categorize as seriously, persistently mentally ill. So we do have facilities such as Coastal, Terrell Fair, and where our counselors are carrying extremely large caseloads. Many of those facilities were expansion facilities so that we could provide more care throughout the state.
Yes, ma'am.
Were initially designed to have populations of 75 or more, and we're upwards into the 200 to 300s on the caseloads, just because of the sheer volume that are coming in.
Right, but they aren't all necessarily one classification, though,
No,
right? Okay.
no.
I do appreciate that. Thank you.
I would like to
Clarity.
just make
Go ahead, Tim. Let's wind down so I can get.
Just one quick point to this.
I don't want Tyrone to think we're ignoring.
Chairwoman James's comment. These aren't independent problems, right? You could approve the funding, 100% of the 34 million for all the FTE gap between current and the standard. We wouldn't be able to fill it if we don't do the first one. Right. Now, you wouldn't be billed for that. It wouldn't be a cost to the state because we bill based on when it's been hired and there's somebody in that seat. But until we get the salaries to the right place, we can't recruit to the additional folks that are needed. So the approach we're taking this year doesn't solve the not come back next year problem, right? We got to come back next year, but it certainly begins to solve this problem in the proper sequence.
Thank you. And you said something I found interesting. So we give you the money, but if you don't hire the person, you send the money back?
No, you appropriate the money. We invoice you based on actual. So
Well,
you could.
that's what I'm trying to say. We
You don't give
appropriate
it
the
to
money.
us. We would never
But what I'm
even
saying
achieve
is
it.
we appropriate the money, and then if you don't hire the position, you don't get the money.
We don't get the money.
Yeah, we need to do that in every department.
Right.
I appreciate you a lot, Tim.
All right, thank
you
you.
for you and your team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now the man, the myth, the legend.
I probably would like to sit down and understand more, so calling you.
He does. Do you just lock the door when you leave your office, Commissioner? Because there's nobody there?
This one's rebooted, it must be the other phone.
And we're at, right, 107.5. All right. I know you got a crowd, and I don't want to tie you up too long. I've got a hard stop in this room. So
I'll let you
let's go to.
drive the way.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah,
follow
if you run that and it follows what our concerns
Yes.
are, and I think you know what our concerns are.
House changes.
Then I'm good. Yep.
All right, we'll jump right into it. Next slide. I'm not sure who's driving. Okay. This fleet services, 107.5 at 69,000. Self-explanatory. It's hiring one extra fleet service mechanic. Over the time, we've saved an estimate about 2.1 million of avoided external costs by having in-house mechanics work on our fleet vehicles. So that was a House recommendation that was put in there to increase that staffing by one.
And I think that's a wise decision.
Yes, sir.
I do.
Absolutely.
And that was 1 year's of savings.
Yeah. Do you know what the total open repair orders are right now?
It's
235.
235?
Yes, sir.
And you think those will be closed by July 1, or
I'll defer to you on that.
most likely not? Or?
No, sir, most likely not. No, sir. Well, I mean, it's perpetual. It's,
Right. I'm
those
just saying the
get
ones
filled,
that
but
are
there'll be
sitting
more
there now.
backlog. Yes, sir.
Ones sitting there now.
When we
Right.
submitted the original request, there was 200, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
gone up to 235.
Okay.
So it's increasing, not decreasing.
Well, y'all do a lot of driving too, so that's not realized many times. Okay, go ahead.
All right, next slide. 109.7 food service contract with GCI. The House change on that was from 4.8 million, provides funding annualized a 6-month increase provided in the amended budget for GCI for the rising food costs. So that's an annualization from what was already approved in the amended.
And the annualization needs to be there to begin
Absolutely.
with, right? And so that we don't see y'all in the amended budget next year looking for this, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, there's a little bit more additional funding in there, right? Or does that average out, correct?
Yeah, that averages out correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And then on next line, 109.8, food and farm equipment upgrades at 850,000. That's to upgrade the equipment necessary to improve efficiencies.
Now, this equipment was not asked for in the amended budget, right?
Correct.
This is one piece of equipment? Yes. This was one piece of equipment?
It's several pieces of equipment down there that we need to upgrade. I'll let you.
Actually, it was asked for both, and it's just funded in amended. Some was funded in amended, some was funded in the base budget, and this is $850,000 for a combine.
Right.
If we
Okay.
can't find a combine for that price, we'll use it for other farm equipment as well. We got a lot of, Jennifer's been down there, we've got a lot of farm equipment that needs to be replaced and it's outdated.
Chairman Albers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Great to see you all, as always. Appreciate everything you do.
Yes, sir.
We invested a lot a couple years ago in the farm, a significant amount. And I thought when we said that, we were going to be caught up for quite some time. But here we are biting at the apple again. And I'm a little concerned that it seems like we're always ad hoc. Every year it's this. We don't seem to have a plan to say, this is where we're up to snuff. This is what it tails out to. This is what our capital outlay is. It's kind of feel like it's an every year thing now.
Yeah, that was a dairy, I think you, just speaking of that that you guys funded an upgrade. We can provide you with the list of equipment that needs to be updated at the farm. I think, it's just been on deferred maintenance for years.
And look, and I love the farm. I love the fact that we got folks out there working. We're keeping busy and something productive. And I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for your department, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
But again, it just always seems like every year there's another one there where I think that those of us in the committee would like to see, hey, this is where we are and where it looks like based on a typical capital outlay and replacement plan.
Yes, sir. We can do that.
And as we were going through the amended budget, I sat and spoke to some farmers. And be very frank, they're not impressed with the program because there's no return on investment, right? We're putting a lot of money into this, but we're not getting a lot of return. Would that be?
Well, that's because of
If I'm wrong, I believe I'm wrong every day.
Yeah,
so.
we were losing this because of the food costs. GCI hadn't received a food cost in several years. I think we're losing about $19 million.
We're losing food costs on the farm?
Yes, because the cost of the food.
Explain to me what you mean, Commissioner, by the cost of the food.
Go ahead, Jess.
Basically, our costs have increased for food, and GDC receives funding in our food and farm program to pay GCI for the food, and it goes towards their food and farm operations. So we grow most of our food, not all of it, and food costs have increased just like they have personally. And when that food and farm program does not receive funding, then they offset it with other revenue they receive from other programs. GCI, the agency, separate agency as a whole, does.
So
And therefore, they can't invest in the equipment they need for manufacturing. They can't invest in the equipment they need for farming. And that's what's happened. That's where that capital outlay plan, they have a capital outlay plan. It's just they don't ever have the money to make ends meet when the food costs are so high to feed our offenders.
But the food costs to feed your offenders are coming from where? Cisco and everybody else that you're buying food from?
It could be Cisco, yes, sir, but most of it's, grown there. But we do have other vendors. We have, it's not necessarily just Cisco, but there are other.
Right. I'm
vendors.
just saying whatever vendor it might be.
Right. We have a meat processing plant. Sometimes we have to buy the meat. Well, we do buy the meat, the beef, and then we process it. We buy it in bulk, and the costs have gone up.
So the cost is buying the beef, not growing the beef, correct?
Correct.
So the cost is not on the farm. The cost is to get a product that you're trying to process at the farm, correct? Talking meat.
It's a little bit of both, sir, honestly. I mean, it's hard to just say it's one or the other. It's really both. I mean,
So if I went out and factored in the price of purchasing unprocessed beef, I bring it in, process it, factoring in all the costs of processing, would I save money by contracting out with somebody and have already pre-processed beef coming into a prison?
no, sir, not that we've seen.
And do we run these numbers? And look,
Yes,
I know,
sir, we have, and
I know
we-
beef prices are high right now, but beef sales are still high. People are still buying
Well,
it every day.
To give you an example, Aramark, we have a couple facilities on Aramark services, and Aramark actually buys their beef from us, and they buy, I think it's their chicken quarters from us because our procurement processes are a little more efficient than them. And they're an international company, and that's one of the things they do brag about is that they're able to get, good economies of scale because they're able to buy in bulk. But they do actually prefer some of our prices that we offer at GCI.
Are we selling it to them at market price?
Yes, sir.
So we're outselling some of the big processors then out in Texas and everywhere else because we can do it for less?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what do we grow on the farm?
Corn, kale.
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
And our potatoes, that we grow there, when we look at how much we spend to grow potatoes, we could not buy those potatoes at that cost. When we talk labor, equipment costs, and utilities and everything else, we're getting the best bang for our buck for our potatoes.
I would
Is that
say so,
right?
yes, sir, because
Okay.
it's just the scale we're doing it at, and we can our own potatoes and things like that. So it's more of a, it's not really a just-in-time inventory assessment of it. It's we get it, we can it, we store it in a warehouse, and we're able to save on that versus just-in-time inventory where you're having to pay that extra premium for having it delivered right on time.
Great, I appreciate that. Go ahead, Commissioner. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator, Chairwoman James.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Glad to have you. I was interested in knowing on the farm, when you have excess, do you do like some of the schools now in Georgia, have farms or little gardens or whatever? They sell them to the people around there. I was wondering if they go to any stores, or do you just use them for the needs?
We use them. Of course, we put a store in our warehouse and we use them in case of an emergency. I mean, when Hurricane Helene came through, we had a lot of stuff that went down. So we save non-perishable stuff for that.
And the second thing, real quick about food, I had calls from, I have two mosques, I guess you call it, Muslim. They wanted to know why the incarcerated Muslims don't have the kind of food that they're supposed to eat. I said, well, it's not a country club or anything, and they got mad with me. But I was saying, do you
We do
look at
accommodate
that?
for Ramadan. So we do.
You do?
Yes.
We do.
Like they say they can't eat
Non-kosher
sausage.
meals and
Yeah,
all. Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
so
do.
you do?
Yeah, and we actually have
So
a
I
kosher
can
kitchen, a halal kitchen that provides all those meals. So
Okay, I'll find. I gotta
And you
get
do
a
the same
paper
thing for
that so I
Jewish,
can send it to
correct
for Jewish
kosher meals.
detained, or Jewish prisoners, everybody,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And Ramadan, you change the hours so that they eat their
Yes.
meal after
Oh, good.
sundown? Yeah,
Yes.
okay, good.
Very good. Can I
If I
get a
could-
paper on that so I can send it to the people when they say, ask me? And
Chairman?
I'm actually getting questioned.
Well, and look, I respect all that, but I'm not sure the victims of those crimes got those same things. These are prisoners who committed felonies and heinous crimes, and they are locked in a cell because of the terrible, terrible things that they did. And while we might make an accommodation or two, let's not go out of our way to make prison easy.
Yeah.
It deserves to be hard and a terrible place to be because of what they did.
Yeah, we deal with bound by law.
And listen,
on
and
that.
I think Senator James makes a great point. I think by the people call and lie all the time about saying that they don't get accommodated in prison and they're treated this way and treated that way. In the perfect world, we would be running an institution exactly the way Chairman Albers says we should. But because the way we're required and because of judges who couldn't find a prison with a compass, that we're accommodating every splinter faith out there, that if anybody comes up with something, I believe you have one Quaker in prison right now, according to the stats I read every day. And if he or she has an issue, then we have to accommodate that issue. And that's one of the problems why it's so expensive, and it's one of the problems why our correctional officers are getting complained on all the time about things that just are not happening. And I appreciate the patience of y'all putting up with citizens that lie on y'all and with the elected officials throughout the state to think they can do a better job of running a prison than you guys do. So I do appreciate y'all on that. But I think
Thank you.
by her bringing that up, I think it's a great opportunity for us to point out the fact that people continue to lie and the media does not do their job. So continue on, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next slide. System health stacks, I won't spend too much time on that. I know our parties from Centurion spoke
Yeah,
on
and
that.
I think we can fly by that. I think we're all.
I just want to make sure you guys are clear on the numbers of why they increased, if you guys are comfortable with that, but just to kind of show
right.
how that mental health population has increased
Right.
Over the years, and the chronic conditions have increased over the years. That Chairman Albert's point is about, why they're steadily increasing. Not only population's increased, but also the the chronic illnesses have increased over the years.
Yeah, and let's talk about the difference
Oh, yeah.
in the cost.
The difference in the cost on that, currently, we're in litigation. We have to provide that in our diagnostic function.
Provide
And
what?
The audiology at diagnostics, the hearing test for our hearing impaired individuals coming into the prison system.
Does everybody that goes through diagnostics now have to have their hearing tested?
They do.
Okay. Had we done that before?
We have.
Okay.
If it's a different test, and I'll let Randy
If
speak to that.
if it's a different test, and just tell me is this for individuals with hearing issues?
To
or-
identify hearing issues, and then also to continue to provide service for them while they're in the system.
Okay. But we're doing hearing tests already. This is just a different type of hearing test.
That's that we're required in an agreement.
Is this
to
a
do.
single hearing test, or are we now doing two?
This will be the sole hearing test that we
Okay.
would have to do.
More
And what's the
enhanced.
litigation
More
based
enhanced.
on that we didn't provide it?
It's kind of what we call. Is Randy?
And I don't want to get you. I don't want to get you held in contempt again.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
trying not to. That's why I'm gonna let Randy come up to the mic and kind of speak to that.
Because at some point, you're going to be on somebody's caseload for the mental health side.
The department was engaged in a lawsuit back in 2018. It's American Disabilities Act lawsuit on hearing loss. And so that case continues to linger today. And one of the remedies with the case, we currently, practitioners use what's called the whisper test.
Right.
That's what your doctor uses, and you didn't know it because he's talking with you. What we learned is that sometimes the whisper test can underappreciate hearing loss. Person can hear you at the time of the appointment, but then you may have hearing loss. One of the things that we worked with the judge was that we can do an electronic hearing test for the first time in the department and get a baseline screening electronically versus the whisper test, which is the snap of the
And
fingers.
so
and
this
just
gets
conversation.
us to the test you just talked about. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I learned about the whisper test in interviews and interrogations. We use that. It works very well. But thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. On that healthcare side too,
Can you advance the slide?
at some point I need to know about the additional funding at Lee Arundel too.
Yeah.
Just
So.
wanted to touch on that.
The Lee Arundel, the additional funding on that, it was to accommodate the 200 additional. So we're going to keep our transitional center offenders there, our fire team, long-term maintenance, and the GCI plant. So originally it didn't include 200 additional offenders to run the GCI.
So these 200 additional offenders, they're just going to be
They
sitting
stay
there?
Yeah, they stay. No,
Okay,
they're
so
there.
they live there?
Yes, yes. And you actually funded the long-term maintenance in that one building. Hang on, let me go back to it.
Because there was something in there about maintenance and 200 people to manage the facility, right?
Correct, and long-term maintenance.
It's long-term maintenance, and then there's a good
Put the
bit of-
mic over. if you-
There's a good bit that work in the GCI packaging plant, and that's an everyday job that they have.
It's a get up and go to work job.
Correct.
And we also have a fire station there too, sir, that they would still
Right.
service.
So everybody inside that facility will be working
Correct.
every day?
Correct.
Sir.
Okay, because I mean, when I read everything, it sounded like landscaping and all this other kind of stuff. It sounded like everything was there on the facility, on the grounds.
Correct, except for the transitional centers. The transitional center, I mean, they go outside the wire to work.
Okay, and so all of the.
The long-term maintenance are there to just take care of the grounds and maintenance, routine maintenance at the
Laundry,
at the prison.
kitchen, things of that sort as well.
But that's just the day-to-day operations, right? It's What
Correct.
trustees do in jails and
Correct.
what
Same.
trustees do in prison.
But we weren't funded to house those additional long-term people there.
And the long-term people are, what will their daily activities
Same
be?
thing, kitchen, laundry, any preventative maintenance, things of that nature that goes on there.
As well as the GCI.
GCI plant too.
And fire station.
Okay, you weren't funded to house people there to do what people there have to do?
Correct, on the medical side. So, and the food and farm, food side, food costs, medical costs, things of that nature.
The funding was removed when we received funding from McCray.
Correct.
And was it removed because there was thoughts that those beds would stay open?
I think it was just an oversight of how many offenders we were going to keep at Lee Arundel. we're going to have, like 400, those 400 offenders there. So I think it was just an oversight. We're going to only keep 200 there.
Okay. Yeah, what, 4.
Lee Arundale's in my district, and it was proposed that it was just going to be a transitional center only, so there was some confusion. Is that right? Is that where the confusion came in?
Well, I know since my communications with this committee, was going to house the transitional center, long-term maintenance, fire team, and the GCI plant, the packing plant.
Okay.
And so that was the original goal. From my understanding, even coming into this role, that was the original plan when Lee Arundale closed, was to maintain those offenders there for that purpose.
And they do a great job in our community. I mean, from the fire station to Huddle House, I mean, they have workers. They're part of our community. They do a really good job there. I've been to the fire station. I've watched them.
And the Huddle House, that's the transition folks, right?
Correct.
Yeah, but the original thought was that was just going to be transition because we thought everybody was going to move to McRae when McRae opened, correct?
They did,
And see, there's what I'm thinking. We're tracking. That's where the miscommunication. Something changed from that.
No, I think the communication had been consistent. I think McRae, all of the general population, but bulk of the general population did move to McRae. The original request from the agency was going to maintain the fire team,
Right.
GCI plant, and then of course your long-term mates and the transitional center. My message has been consistent ever since we've been coming to this committee on
Well,
that.
there was a breakdown in communication on
Somewhere.
that one particular part. That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because I'd been told from the very beginning that the long terms were going to be moved to McRae. And there was going to be a transitional center. Of course, you still had to have
Correct.
the other folks, the fire station and things of that nature, the
Correct.
people that Chairman Hatchett are talking about.
Correct.
You want to say something?
Just at the long-term maintenance.
What mic number is that?
One.
Okay.
The long-term maintenance program exists at every transitional center. With changing Arundale into a transitional center, we're increasing that transitional population to 200 instead of 100. And then you have the long-term maintenance staff there, inmates there that are eligible to move into the transitional center program that will maintain the fire station, that will maintain the GCI plant, that will do laundry, food operations, because that group of inmates that are leaving, the residents that are leaving are not at the facility during the course of the day at any time to also maintain what has to happen there for them to be fed, for the laundry to occur, and things of that nature.
Was this not communicated to the executive's office, to the governor's office?
It was.
Because the governor and them took the money out.
It must have been an oversight or, again, a miscommunication, but yes, it was communicated.
The other part about that is long-term maintenance offenders are considered inmates as opposed to.
No, I understand that. I understand that. My concern is this is funded by the House, but it was not in the governor's. And, I mean, that's a lot of oversights. And so, all right. Well, that'll be part of the discussion tomorrow.
All right.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Next slide, offender management, 111.5, inmate assignment decision systems. I'm going to go 111.6, the RSET offender program. Actually, that's funded by the House, recommendation by the House, $368,000. It should be in detention centers. They put it in an offender management program, but it should be in detention centers to provide residential RSET. The RSET program there.
All right.
111.7 reimbursement to rural counties to local jails at $1.5 million. Obviously, the House recommendation to provide funding at $30 per day, where there's more than 20% of the jail capacity utilized and occupied by detainees unable to make bail on contraband or drone-related charges.
Okay.
On the reimbursement for local and county jails, I've heard from a lot of, from Stevens County, Banks County, Habersham County, a lot of our county budget right now, because we don't have jails large enough.
Correct.
And we've, tried to put SPLOST on the ballot. We can't build our jail, but a significant portion of our population is these inmates that you're talking about that should be in the state prison. but they're not. And so my question is, what is the reimbursement rate that y'all are supposed to pay the jails per diem?
It's $30, but that, I think what you're probably speaking about two different things. This line item is specifically talking about civilians who are not sentenced yet, who are sitting in county jails on drone-related or contraband charges. So the local sheriff's office, the local jurisdictions catch them from introducing contraband into the prison system, and they're sitting in county jails without bail, and then that's a subsidy that we would pay them. But it's still $30 per day that you're speaking of that we would pay if we don't pick them up after the 15 days.
But
I am talking.
Now, I want to be clear. You said they haven't been sentenced yet.
Correct.
They haven't been convicted
They haven't
yet.
been convicted yet.
They've just been arrested.
Yeah, they've been accused.
Correct.
Correct.
And that's no different than somebody who's arrested here in this building, a state building. If they are transported to Fulton County Jail, it is Fulton County's responsibility to maintain that person until they are adjudicated and, if convicted, and sentenced to state prisons. State prisons has 14 days.
Correct.
To move that individual from the jail to the prison, and if they fail to do that, then they have to pay per diem.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
And what's that per diem rate?
$30.
30? Is it 30 throughout the state?
It is.
Okay. Chairman Hatcher.
I've gotten budget numbers back from my counties, and one in particular, I got the reimbursement rates, and I'm showing that it's like $22 to $25 that they're getting.
Those are old per diem numbers, but it was moved to $30 at the beginning, July 1 of
this
last
one.
year. Yeah.
Fiscal
July
year
1 of-
26 budget, the
Right.
current fiscal year we're in now.
Currently, it's $30.
Correct.
So if they're receiving reimbursement rates at $25 right now, that's incorrect.
30. Yes,
Should be
should be
30, yes.
incorrect. Should be 30.
I may want to talk to you about that.
It's only after that 15th day too, so if they're dividing by the number of days that's on the report that we send them, it may be off because we don't pay on that first time period. It's only after that 15-day period.
Okay.
So it may be a calculation issue, but it is $30 per day.
Yeah, but it would be unusual unless there's a huge backlog that somebody in Senator Hatchett's district from July 1 of 26 would be receiving $25 a day, right?
Correct.
I mean, that they would have to have been there for a while. But once, if they're there and sentenced on June 30th, then June 30th would be $25. But July 1, the next day, would be $30, correct? And then it should, because it's what day they're in there, not what day they got sentenced, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello again. Good to see all of you. I saw on the news maybe a month ago that all over the nation in prisons, they have drones that come over and drop down contraband. And Georgia was on the list. So I want to know, is that really true, and to what extent?
It's very true, but I can tell you this: Georgia right now is leading the nation in contraband and drone interdiction. We do have a large number of contraband drops, but the technology that you all have and the governor's office recommendation that you all have supported through that have enabled us to be able to find these individuals, put these individuals, hence the reason why we have that line item there, or it was recommended from the House of the line item there to reimburse the county jails, because we're catching a lot of people introducing contraband, dangerous contraband into our prisons.
Okay, so you don't have a way to protect the area? So that, like I know when people speeding on the highway, they have radar. So I'm saying, aren't there some kind
Yeah,
of...
we have drone detection systems
yeah.
in place, managed access systems in place, and so we are catching a lot of those individuals.
Okay, I know, I just saw Georgia, and I didn't want Georgia to be part of it. It was a 2-hour program. I don't know the names of those things, but they come on late in the evening.
Okay. Yep.
And so, in fact, I saved it. I'm going to send it to my chairman right here too, so he'll know what's going on. And then maybe if you need, some kind of device or technology.
Just keep supporting it. You guys are funding it already.
That's why I'm asking, because I want to know how to stop it.
Yep, and then we also been advocating on Capitol Hill in D.C. For mitigation efforts, because right now we can detect and track, we just don't have the powers to mitigate, but we do now with the Safe Skies Act that President signed, and then also in the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, it's given state and local jurisdictions the ability to mitigate drones.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let's,
Gotta hurry up.
you want to jump ahead a little bit?
Yes, sir.
Let's jump over to 113.7.
Yes.
On average, over the past several years, how many vacancies have there been in CO1s and CSM1s?
On average,
Yeah, annually.
Annual, I could tell you right now, we have about 2,400. That's been kind of consistent over the years. Actually, we've gone down. We had a 44% vacancy rate. And so kind of like what DJJ spoke to earlier today, we're making a lot of headway in retention. I think with what you see in that funding there, we're on pace to kind of hit that 315 mark. And so the House recommended to go ahead and fund that 315 to fully fund those positions, since we're starting to net employee COs, and also to provide opportunities for that funding for promotions.
See, and you're reading my mind, how many are we netting a year?
About 311 is what we netted last year.
That's with retirements, terminations, everything and hires?
Yes, everything.
Okay.
It's progress.
It is. I mean,
And
we
the
were
turnover
losing-
rate you said was 44%?
That's our vacancy rate. Our turnover rate is
Turnover
26, 25.
25? That's great. For
It
the
was
years
40% a couple years ago.
Ma'am?
It was 40% a couple years ago.
Yes.
So the efforts of that you all are providing and supporting with the pay raises and supporting this definitely helps our retention.
How many of y'all hired so far this year? Do you know?
133 so far.
Okay, and terminations, retirements,
That's
or exits?
actually, that's net, sorry. 133 is net.
Bless you. Yeah, 103 from January 1 until?
133.
July 1
Okay,
to
for fiscal
current.
year?
Correct.
Okay. So the net's 103,
133,
133? So if I average that out, am I looking at 266?
somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay, good. All right, Commissioner.
Do you want to go anywhere next?
Anything else you want to?
Let me go through here and see.
113.11?
113.11 is the OWL unit. The annualization of the OWL unit, of course, that's our force multiplier with that. I think the House recommendation, it was to provide
CSM positions.
CSM positions, the close special mission security level positions for the OWL unit, for our Overwatch unit.
So how many positions you have open right now in the OWL unit?
How many we got, man?
They just began hiring the correctional officers. They have 24 vacant CO positions, and they have probably about 6 hired already.
Are
to
you
the program.
promoting those from inside, or are you hiring them from outside?
From inside. The correctional officers are being promoted from inside. Some of the analyst positions, we're taking applications from other agencies.
Good deal. So you're giving the folks that have been working there an opportunity to move into something a little more exciting, maybe? Yeah. And how's the response been to that? A lot of...
It's been excellent, a lot of feedback. You'd be pleased to know that we're running them through the same process as our OPS unit and doing our background checks and also doing polygraph examinations before we begin their employment.
Good deal. And now we'll jump to that third rail, 113.14.
113.4.
$953,000
Yes.
to meet accreditation requirements to operate a high school diploma program within the Department of Corrections.
Yep.
Superintendent, go ahead.
No, that'll be Assistant Commissioner Davis and Dr. Irving, if they want to come up and kind of speak to that as well.
I don't need a long drawn out,
No,
because like I said,
we
we're pressed
won't.
for time. What I want to know is how many high school students do we currently have?
I'll let them go ahead and answer that, because
Okay.
I have it in my notes, but they can rattle
Yeah.
off the top of their head. if you don't
Just
mind.
identify
Come on
yours.
down.
What was the question again?
How many high school, what's the current population in Georgia Department of Corrections?
So the current,
50,000 is the current population.
50,000. How
A
many,
little
how
over
many
50,000.
people do we have enrolled in high school right now?
the current enrollment only.
So the current enrollment are for the students who are at Foothills Regional High School is 30.
Okay. And how many do we have attending class?
We have 30 who are on the roster. And when we looked at the attendance this past week, we were looking at 15.
Okay. That's actually a little bit higher than I anticipated. That's good.
Now, eligible students, I don't know if you all want to speak to the eligibility of students that could participate, because that's currently only at one location.
Right.
At Burris.
Right.
But if you look at the potential number of students that could take advantage of this program, and I'll let them kind of speak to that if you like to hear it.
Yes, I would.
Okay, so there are 949 students aged 17 through 21 right now at Georgia Department of Corrections, spread over all of our facilities, who could potentially be enrolled in high school courses and benefit from the program.
Could a 22-year-old enroll in a high school program, or would they be required to do something different?
Because we are going to be our own high school, we
Right.
would receive FTE funding through the age of 21. However, we are able to put in someone at any age, because what we pay the teachers for their services will be the same no matter who they have. Our first choices for enrollment, of course, would be 17 through 21, but we could serve all.
And what's your anticipated salary for the teachers?
I would like for our teachers to be placed on the teacher salary scale. It would be very comparable to the DJJ salary scale. The reason why is because it's a environment that is not always something that attracts those who can make a certain amount on the outside.
Right.
And our teachers have the same certification as any teachers anywhere in the state, and are required to teach the same type things. So,
Do you happen to know what the starting salary is for a teacher in Georgia right now?
the starting salary for a teacher in Georgia is in the mid-40s.
Mid-40 salary, or is that with benefits and everything?
Yes.
No, that's just a
No,
salary.
that's just
not,
salary.
yes,
Yes,
that's
that's
just
just
a
Yeah, the
salary.
benefit package, is that, would I be right saying it's close to 70?
Yes,
Yes.
that is correct.
And-
And so, and the teachers we're referring to for the salary teacher scale is only 12 out. It's not for all the teachers in our system. It's only those who will be teaching high school education and the GED program. It won't be for those only teaching GED.
Okay, and will these teachers, will class be running 8 hours a day?
Yes.
We
And
will
it
be able
will
to service, we will be able to service during the day, which right now, the contractor only services about 1 hour to 2 hours at night. So because they are already there during the day,
That's
the
right.
expectation is that they will be teaching throughout the day.
And students will be in the class throughout the day?
Students will be in the class, and those who cannot, for behavior reasons, will have an ability to be able to be taught from a distance learning perspective.
Is that live distance learning? In other words, they would be live streaming into the classroom and have the opportunity to engage in the curriculum?
Yes, through a tablet.
Right.
Yes.
And do we have the tablets available now?
Yes.
Okay. Good deal. Yes, ma'am. Senator James.
I'd like to know if, what happens when you have one that can go to college and excel. I know in some states, they have online college for them. So I want to know if, especially those who have 10 more years or whatever, incarcerated. So they need to be educated on doing something. So, do you have it?
We do have a variety of college courses. Some are available in person, and some are online. For example, Bruton Parker College comes into a few facilities and provides live classes.
So they have to go to that one college though, right? I mean, one prison in order to.
No, we have various contracts throughout the state with the technical schools, so the technical school is located closest to that prison location, along with some other universities like Georgia State University, who we have opportunities and some faith-based opportunities as well.
And we can make sure we get you a copy of our impact report. If you don't already have one, I believe we dropped one off, should have dropped one off at your office, but if not, we'll get you another one. You can see all the list of programs and college courses and things of that nature that this group here does.
And they have the
Thank you. I'm
availability
very
to go online and go to any university in the state of Georgia, correct?
I don't know about any university, but.
I talked to one young man that's finished up something at Georgia Tech.
Oh, that's the Braille program
Yeah.
that we have, and that's not the full degree program, but
Right.
it is a program through Georgia Tech that we have for the Braille services.
Great. Appreciate that.
Thank you. But I like it.
So Foothills is, any idea how you're going to replace them, or is it with the high school?
It's with the high school. I mean, we already have the teachers in place now. They're already doing the work, honestly, to be quite honest with you. It would just be able to enhance that, to be able to make sure that we get all of the available students can take advantage of the high school diploma program, and our females, because currently right now, I said we're at Burris, so our female population they're not being serviced right now.
We were paying Foothills 1.7 is what was being allocated for Foothills. And then you're asking for an additional 95,333. Is you, right.
We were paying, Foothills. Our
I'm
contract is,
sorry. Yeah, it was 104, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So the 104 with the 953, is that going to support the high school?
Yes.
$1 million a year. And you think that,
Well, the teachers already exist. It's getting them to the teacher scale. And then we have a couple of positions for accreditation, like the statewide school counselor. But because we're already located in these places, we're able to do it in person and at a distance, we still will have certain locations. We're working with the secure facility operations to identify enhanced education places where maybe 10 sites will have the high school diploma readily in person on any given day. So that's what we're looking at.
have we gamed this out and looked at exactly what it's going to cost for us to set this high school up and to run it annually?
Yes, this is the annual cost.
The annual cost
900.
is the 953,
Correct.
33.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, 91316, increased funds for operations at Lee Arendelle. I think we've talked about that.
Yes.
And increased funds on 113.20, increased funds for residential substance abuse treatment program. The House has recommended $881,000.
Yes, that's for
Okay.
state. That's in state prisons. Yes.
All right. Do you have any concerns with you guys utilizing opioid settlement funds to run that program?
I don't know if you want to speak to that, or Alan.
Randy's
Or
actually.
Randy, I'm sorry.
We've not done opioid treatment in our facilities, so we need to set that program up. Purchasing the requirement.
Randy, if we waited forever for an opinion at the AG's office.
Yeah.
I got somewhat of an opinion yesterday. In my limited legal experience, I always trust the lawyers. I think it doesn't just, they have to have an opioid problem or the potential of having an opioid problem. So basically, in the generalization of conversations I had yesterday, basically, if you have an addiction, there's an opportunity that you could be addicted to opioids at some point, which in the world of addictionology, I could see where they may say that, and then I could see the other side too. But I got an opinion yesterday, thanks to a lot of hard work by analysts, myself, and Chairman Tillery. And so I think there's going to be an opportunity for us to fund that, but we'll fund it from a different bucket.
And if it's funded, then we can certainly implement that program.
Yeah, and I think it's necessary. What line does this go with? Because it's not highlighted.
113.21.
Highlighted, so I'm old. Increase the funds for offender call monitoring.
Yep.
Contract due to the increase in usage.
Yep, so the House addition increases the base budget funding to align with the projected expenses due to the increased call, the telephone call. So as you all know, the managed access is
Right.
up and running at most of the prisons, and so it's pushing people back to the wall phones, and that's just the increase that cost.
Why didn't
for monitoring.
OPB, if we knew this was happening, why didn't OPB include this in their recommendations?
I don't know.
I mean, they knew about it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That sounds you here's a ball being dropped. Okay, 113.22, increased funds for data intelligence and annual maintenance.
Yep, same thing. House increases the base budget funding for the annual maintenance costs, provides a one-time funding for advanced integrations, not funded in amended 26. So that's all of our data analysts and integration people that monitor and listen to the phone calls and Ghost.
So, and as I look through, the budget looks good, everything looks solid. I have serious concerns that most of these, or several of these projects have to be funded by the House, that OPB's not offering up the funding, and again, I'm not sure why, and I'm sure that'll come out in conversations I'll be having all weekend as to why it's not, because what I've seen in the past is y'all have asked for everything you needed every time. So I'm assuming the things that y'all come before the House and ask for and the things you come before the Senate and ask for are the same things that you go to OBP and ask for, right? OPB and ask for, correct?
Yes, we have a laundry list, and I'm sure, just like you all and OPB, they looking at things from a much bigger lens and perspective than we are. So I'm not sure how that prioritization works in that office as well as with this committee and the House committee. But
Well, what I would expect to see on here is a gray block with the word governor in it and a 0 beneath it if they are choosing not to fund. But for them just to, with seeing nothing in the first funding attempt to be being done by the House just causes me some concern. But again, I appreciate the job y'all are doing. I'm going to get with you about a resolution coming up here in the next few weeks.
Thank you, sir, please.
Happy about the retention rates moving in the direction they're moving in. And when we budget for this, let's budget in for those gaps when we know individuals' pay is going to increase within whether it's an automatic increase. Do y'all's increase 10% when they move from rank to rank?
Yes.
Okay. So when it moves that way, as long as we anticipate that, it would be greatly appreciated. Because at some point, I would love for us to come up here and myself, the analysts, and Chairman Hatchett, and everybody that serves on these committees, Senator James and others, that it'd be nice to come up here 1 year and not have to have an amended budget, because everybody asked for everything they needed, and we were able to articulate it. But it always seems to be shortfalls related to salaries and pay and benefits, and that kind of puts us all in a tizzy, because this budget this year is not going to increase much. And when I say much, I mean very, very little. So hopefully we can get you guys the things y'all need to keep operating.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. If there's nothing else,
Appreciate
meeting's
it.
adjourned.
Thanks.